valedictorian. You're all very familiar with him and a very well-deserving choice of a valedictorian. I'd like to present to you Jamie Loughery.
And it's on.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Wow. I can't begin to express how much this means. You've seen today that we do have a very special class, and any number of us could be standing here. So this is a responsibility that I've taken, or I have not taken lightly, and an opportunity that I'll cherish for a long time, so truly, thank you. I didn't approach this with the same diligence that we've approached most of our cases or projects along the way, and I started early, collecting facts, memories, anecdotes. But when I actually sat down to start writing it was quite difficult to put so much in just a few short moments. So I did what most of us have done along the way and Googled valedictorian. As it turns out, valedictorian is derived from a Latin word which I can't pronounce, but it means a formal farewell. Well, this is not a farewell, so this cannot be a valedictorian speech. So this might get awkward. We're going to have some time to fill. If it's not a farewell, I thought it would be the best use of all of our time to treat this like a case discussion. For our families, case is also a Latin term, invented by Ivey, that means unit of punishment. Really, this entire program is founded on what they call the case methodology, and to bring us kind of all up to speed, it actually represents 8 to 10 pages with a background, an environmental assessment, and a leadership problem or a business problem for us to address. We were put in teams of 6 to 7, called learning teams. They were asked to solve these, and I think my count is a little bit different than Lynn's. I had us at 208 cases, but really, who's counting? So our case tonight is about us. It's about 50 or so, mostly A-type personalities, on a journey through analytics, self-reflection, strategy, some successes, some failures, but inevitably leading us to the bond that I think we all feel today. I've got to start by letting my classmates know that, although I've read this, I haven't done the deep dive. Deep dive for all of us means that you're responsible to actually crack the case, to go deep on the numbers and to present a solution to your learning team and lead them through a discussion. So case, it's really interesting how many different meanings that term can take on. Right, Madavi? Recall suitcase? So, as A-type personalities, we decided we actually didn't need our first class to solve our first case. We invaded our LinkedIn group page in an effort to prove that we were very, very smart. You should have seen the flurry of financial ratios, things that we had read in chapter 1, and really any catchphrase that would come to mind. It was painful, it was garbage. But Madavi brought this to a grinding halt by posting, "What size suitcase is everyone bringing to Reswick?" Well, this gave the cohort ahead of us a pretty good laugh, and Madavi was a good sport about it because, as we later found out, her case was big enough to store the volleyball trophy that we took from them later that week. So the term case became a unit of measure for many of us, and I'm sure a unit of frustration for our families. How long is that meeting going to be? 6 cases. How much more work do you have to do tonight? Just 2 more cases. Can you come to my parents' house for dinner on Sunday? Oh, way too many cases. And I hope none of you are still trying to use that one. So we have a good idea of what case meant to us and what it might mean for this evening, so I think we should dive in. Ivey cases typically begin with a series of acknowledgements written by the author, and in that tradition I'd like to thank Associate Dean Morris for attending today. As graduates, you've bestowed on us a responsibility to live up to an Ivey community, while you are the leaders and the custodians of driving our brand globally. These tasks should not be mutually exclusive of each other, and I would expect you to engage with us in that process. Lynn Purdy, Liz Snellgrove, and Brenda Van-Welsen have been with us right from the beginning of our journey in different capacities, and I couldn't imagine a celebration without you all here. Brenda especially, as our program manager. Let's get a hand to Brenda. study. Because when we first started the program, a little tiny bottle of Advil found its way onto our desks Sunday mornings, apparently aimed at anyone who was out doing work late that night. Over the course of the term, the bottle of Advil got a little bit bigger and very quickly made its debut on Thursday morning. So she got to know us fairly well. One thing that's definitely left a lasting impression on us as a faculty. Coming in here, we knew it was Ivey. We expected the professors to be great. But as many of you know, Jean-Louis, Mary, Peter, Larry, you've gone above and beyond. And the dedication you show in and out of the classroom truly makes you professionals. And the last of our acknowledgments this evening to our friends and family. You are as much a part of this day as any of us. We accept these degrees on your behalf with the knowledge that life is a team sport. And over the course of the program, we've welcomed many new members into the extended Ivey family, some during the term and some just after. And unfortunately, some great people have left us along the way as well. So to all of our friends and family, I'd like to raise a very toast and sincere, humble thanks. We're not here without you. Thank you. Okay, so we have our acknowledgments behind us. We're going to go into the background portion of our case, which for us started not too far from here at Spencer Leadership Center. It was a rocky start, and Jane Howell, who was with us not long ago, freaked us out. I'd like to put some context around this. Has everyone seen the movie The Shawshank Redemption? You know the scene when the new inmates are getting off the bus in the yard for the first time? That feeling of being lost, confused, not sure what we've done to really get ourselves into this mess. And to top it off, you've got the second term cohort getting deep dives on who's going to survive the week or not. So it should have been a comforting feeling for us to walk into Jane's class. Our first class, we got seated alphabetically, and Jane walked in appearing so warm, friendly, and even welcoming. Well, we're ready to talk about Jack Welch and GE and a restructuring he was going through. So it's GE. We all know this company. This has to be a no-brainer. And then she flipped. She asked Farhan to play the role of Jack Welch. And in a transition, I went something like 4 inches from Farhan's face. She starts yelling at me. How dare you fire me? I make you money. Have you gone insane, old man? I started to look around to my left and to my right at Lynn and Alan to see if anyone else had peed themselves. Everyone in the classroom was shrinking in their seats, and Farhan, although we all love you, I don't think anyone wanted to be you at that moment. I started thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing here? But as awkward as we were there, I'm not sure anyone that was as awkward on day one as Murray Bryant. So see, Murray is a passionate teacher, and he covers a lot of ground in the classroom. And on this day, he lost his footing. He slipped, he fell. It's no big deal, right? It all happens. But as he corrected himself and got his legs under him, he looked up to see our classmate, Mary Wu, crossing the classroom, arms wide open, ready to deliver a massive hug. Well, he had to attempt to conjure up some rugby moves of days gone by, which he got him. Pinned against the chalkboard with nowhere to go. And I'd like to think for that one moment, Murray felt exactly like us sitting in the class. Helpless. Great first day. 206 cases to go. So we left Residence Week and we were encouraged, well, we were told, to get into a regular routine of study times and meetings. Evening conference calls, weekend study sessions quickly became the norm for most of us. For me, it was plodding along hour after hour at a desk in the basement or nestled into an Ivey breakout room in the ING Center. This was stressful, particularly for the families. I mean, the typical case is about 10 pages. How can it take that long? I thought we were supposed to be smart. It's 37 pages a day. We should be able to rip through that, right? Well, after pondering that question for many months, I found no better words to answer the question than those of a popular song released in 1997. What were you doing with all that time? So if you can bear with me, here are a few of the poignant lyrics that we'll go through. He drinks a whiskey drink, He drinks a vodka drink. He drinks a lager drink. He drinks a cider drink. He spends 38.5 hours on an analytics case, then curls up in bed crying with a defeated face. Spiritual, deep words from Chumbawamba. And I know Peter's in the room today, so I wonder about the probability, Peter, of Chumbawamba being quoted in an Ivey convocation. Surely, we must, based on high p-value, reject the null hypothesis and consider this result not statistically relevant. Right? For those of us who really didn't understand that, our friends and family, it's okay. Neither did we. So with some background behind us, our case shifts to probably one of the most important points, the environmental assessment. So as the cases wore on, our own environment began to change a little bit. We selected the Children's Miracle Network as our class charity, and as you heard earlier, really rallied around that wonderful cause. We do owe special thanks to Remo, Brian, and Andrea for organizing event after event, and not only raising some money, but probably most importantly, awareness for the cause. It's a really great work for the team. And John Hartman, who has joined us today, we have a lot more money to donate if we didn't have to rebuild the golf green. but don't ask. Some of us grew mustaches, others of us dressed in costumes, and we raised awareness on so many levels. And as mentioned earlier, Scotty, your witch costume scared us on so many levels. But mostly how comfortable you were in the shoes. Case discussions got shorter, but the discussions about broader issues and the impact of our decisions got longer. We left the comfort of our classroom and consulted to real-life companies, and we gained depth in our conversations in the classroom. But I think something else, probably something unexpected, happened that was equally important. Many of us failed at something, and probably for the first time. For this group, that's got to be a tough thing. Whether it was stress in a learning team, not hitting a mark, being felled by a case, or not being present at home, at work, or in another part of your life. This was foreign territory for many of us. And I've spoken to many of you in preparation for this address, and I think I can summarize all of our feelings in one word as probably transformative. I think we all got something a little bit different out of this program than what we had signed up to get. So while we're here having fun, and I'm obviously being a little lighthearted and taking some liberties, we should never forget the marathon this program has asked us to run, and be very happy of the material accomplishment it is to be standing here. I'm very proud, and I know that we have all earned it. No Ivey case is complete without presenting a business challenge or a problem for us to solve. And I remember when I first started trying to solve cases, I wanted to solve each case perfectly. Lock up a solution, put it in a tiny little box, and say, done. It took me some time to realize that these are not singular items, but building blocks that should fit together and allow us to craft our own leadership DNA. I can remember the exact point, and I hope that you can too, where this program became not about the marks, but about the experience. Many of us may not know that the EMBA program took on a new direction after the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. Ivey took an even deeper bias towards governance and social responsibility. And I guess that the observation was there's a lot of smart people who can build models and chase profits, but intelligence is seeing beyond the obvious and making a better decision. Ivey produced a white paper co-authored by Mary Crossan, who joins us this evening, titled The Manifesto of Leadership Development. In it, Mary and her colleagues opine that the foundation of good leadership rests on three pillars: competency, character, and commitment. Mary, I stand up here and humbly suggest you forgot a fourth C: courage. Too many or too few leaders or CEOs actually have the courage to stand in a boardroom and say, I don't understand. Or even more courageous, I do understand. But the outcomes are not worth risking the catastrophic losses. We're not going to follow the crowd. So with character, competency, commitment, and courage, I think those pillars were evident in Mary's class. We have several other examples here this evening. Ironically, Jane yelling at us was not the most uncomfortable she made us. She asked us to write a paper about ourselves. So our 58 type personalities to go and really dig deep and figure out what we're not good at, where we're vulnerable. I think that might have been the most transformational assignment for me in this program. It taught us, and it taught me, that character resides in a confidence to be vulnerable, self-aware, and humble. Analytics for Peter forced us to have the commitment to embrace complexity, to look beyond the obvious, and for many of us, the courage to bounce back from defeat. Murray, who was also with us and who called our names today, taught us that competency is not found in calculating a financial ratio, but is embedded in the ability to understand the underlying meaning. I will never forget the Hedge-Dubet case where he required or asked us to always step back and ask, is the business broken before blindly plodding along doing the same things? And it's wonderful to see Larry wind it with us today. I think he really gave us the confidence to learn a new language, finance. And what can I say about Jean-Louis that hasn't been said already? I believe you personify the Ivey brand. Your character, commitment, and competence are ever present. And if chaperoning 50 of us through China is not courage, then I don't know what it is. I believe we all showed courage to get here. And I believe all of our families and friends showed a tremendous amount of commitment. I can't speak for everyone in the room, but I know at times I was an absent friend, an absent father, an absent husband, son, or brother. And often in this class, as busy as we were, we might have had the easier of the assignments. So, to my esteemed colleagues in the EMBA class of, well, screw it, to the Got Your Back class, learning from you has been a privilege, and to be entrusted with this responsibility is truly humbling. And as I said in the opening, this is not a farewell. It's a reminder that like the 208 cases that have passed, this one just leads us towards our next challenge, and that we're all in it together. I'd like to close with a few poignant words from Winston Churchill, who said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts." So ladies and gentlemen, I think we should turn up the music, celebrate our accomplishment. Thank you, and congratulations.